Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah, I don't have one. I never had a situation
Yeah,
like
well, not
this.
that much of a choice, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just checking.
This little monkey's not working.
One.
I'm sorry.
Do you think we could, after we get the resolutions, Dan, I could swear in the chapel after that?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, just call them up.
Okay. Alrighty, let's see what we're doing here.
And then I'll at least steal the top two pages back from you. The rest I have.
Yeah.
Donna's not here. Oh, she's not? Yeah, she's sick.
Oh, so is Denise.
Goody. Can I get back to you on the quote for, what do you call it?
Yeah, my little doggy shop getting robbed, huh?
Why don't you just go with him?
You got to explain it?
Oh, not that. No, just a program. Was it Shiro program?
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
39?
Unbelievable, huh?
Hey, listen, if you can get them,
it to me.
you're
Yeah, but
lost.
how was one note? Well, the front door was open.
I just want to make sure.
Supposedly it wasn't supposed to be open.
Oh, no, not 30.
He walks right back to the manager's office. So you got to say, is it an inside job? Who knows?
Well, maybe, oh, you know what, I'm thinking.
That's my
it was-
problem.
At 8
the other
o'clock
one
in the
was
morning.
28.
It almost sounds like, you know what I mean, it was an inside.
For some reason, I'm thinking 40 was.
Denise doesn't come in. No, I didn't know. That's the crazy part.
That was for the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his. Yeah, so the other one was 28. I think.
I got a quorum, so.
Hit the guy over the head as he was walking away. Turned around and supposedly said to the guy, "Have a nice day."
That's what it was.
Yeah, see, I go more of an inside job here. I mean, for the simple reason.
I just want to make sure
Money's being left behind. I mean, from the week.
I don't know.
All I heard was a couple thousand. I don't have the exact amounts.
Let me take pictures of this.
Opportunity.
I'm so.
Mike's at a million other places you can hit. Later on during the day and still get that kind of money. You know, and not even be recognized running into the shadows of darkness.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
Here we go.
Kind of amazing.
Good enough.
Elaine, the eyes getting any better?
He's not.
Take that. Let me take that as a.
We do the finger test again.
Take that as a no.
It's a different problem now.
He's not doing the
Tried to solve it,
illuminators
created
for
another
one.
So,
A lasting one or something that.
no, he can reverse.
You know what? He is for
Or as time goes on, it goes back a different.
no envy.
No, I think I have to. He put stuff in my inserted things in my eyes. I had to take them out. You can see my skin is really dry.
He's using a DVR, not an NVR.
Eyes.
DVRs are
So I put cream on
70% cheaper.
in my eyes. It makes my eyes powder. I can't see. So
As if you ever want to go to a
it's
network.
reversible. But
I got you.
Sorry, to hear.
NVRs are replacing DVRs.
I've heard other experiences where, you know, I know a guy that went for the laser surgery before it was even popular, and he was cheap. He actually went to Canada, flew to Canada to have it done up there because we were literally like $900 for 2 eyes. And down here it was like $4,000.
I might be. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he never had a problem with it. We were all like, "Are you crazy? Well, outside the country, you know, those medical things don't work out well outside the country." Yeah, I did my research.
I mean,
You know, it all turned out fine for him.
wow.
So I would think that you're in good hands when you're
he's
inside.
using the illuminators.
I mean, I really do have over.
Mayor, I'm going to put you on first. Right?
So he's not, why does he not have anything with as far as
I just heard a
electrical?
I made you in your
Oh, use it.
That's all right.
Yes, yes.
Oh, all right.
you know, on the radio today.
Well, once we do the Eagle
Philadelphia
Scout,
area,
we'll come back to the table.
40,000
Give a definition of what
surgeries. You want to talk about the guy that's
program's all about,
skilled?
read
That's
the
a whole lot of
definition, and
surgery.
we'll go down again and sort of-
Eyeballs.
Yeah.
That's a lot of surgery.
A lot of eyeballs.
And they're down.
The Brookhaven Borough Council meeting will now come to order. Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well, will you please remain standing for just a moment as we offer a moment of silence to our recently Brookhaven residents. Guy Kushko, Sr., Helen Serkiski. Thank you.
I want to welcome everybody to the Brookhaven Borough Council meeting. At this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a young man tonight that's here that we're going to honor and give him a resolution. Actually, we have a lot of young men in the audience this evening. You can chuckle about that, guys. Okay. But anyway, you'll notice a young man sitting over here in the nice uniform that he's in. But we're going to give him a resolution this evening on attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. But first, for some of you who may or may not know what an Eagle Scout is, I'd like to give you the definition of it, and I won't bore you reading it too long. But an Eagle Scout is the highest achievement or rank attainable in the Boy Scouting program of the Boy Scouts of America. The designation Eagle Scout was founded over 100 years ago. Only 4% of Boy Scouts are granted this rank after a lengthy review process. The requirements necessary to achieve this rank takes 2 years to fulfill. Since its founding, the Eagle Scout rank has been earned by almost 2.5 million young men. Requirements include earning at least 21 merit badges. The Eagle Scout must demonstrate Scout spirit, an ideal attitude based upon the Scout oath, law, service, and leadership. This includes an extensive service project that the Scout plans, organizes, leads, and manages. The Eagle Scouts are presented with this medal and badge that visibly recognize the accomplishments of the Scout. So, without further ado, Matthew, if you would stand up and come forward for just a moment. And I'm going to ask Mr. Dunaway if you come down with me also. But Matthew, could you take a moment and just tell the folks what your project was?
So my service project that I had to complete to be an Eagle Scout was to build 3 wooden picnic benches and 3 wooden trash can holders for the gym circus field across from Coburn Elementary.
Matt, how many badges do you have?
I have 74 merit badges.
Not much.
I was a Boy Scout one time. I was the first place. That's all I got. But anyway, this is the Brookhaven, Delaware County Resolution 2018. Resolution of Brookhaven Borough Council, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, honoring Matthew Box for his dedicated service to Brookhaven Troop 493 and becoming an Eagle Scout. Whereas Matthew Box resides at 2130 Illini Road, Ashton, Pennsylvania, with his parents, Jim and Christine. Whereas Matthew Box passed the Eagle Scout Board of Review on September 26, 2018, and whereas Matthew Box is a senior at Sun Valley High School and attended Coburn Elementary School. He is a member of Sun Valley Marine Corps Junior ROTC, where he is on the command staff as Master Sergeant and also completes on the physical fitness team. He is also an officer of the Sun Valley Robotics team and enjoys going to competitions. And whereas Matthew Box joined Brookhaven Cub Scout Pack in 2008 when he was in 2nd grade and crossed over into the Boy Scout Troop in 2012. The Eagle Scout project was constructing picnic tables and trash can holders for Durkin Field on Coburn Boulevard, which supported his love of baseball while giving back to the Brookhaven community. He continues with Troop 493 as a junior leader, and whereas Matthew Box plans to attend college through an ROTC program and major in marketing and management for Center of Military Service Academy. Now therefore be it resolved, the Brookhaven Borough Council thanks Matthew Box for his dedication and service to Troop 493 and earning the outstanding Eagle Scout and wishes him award and wishes him good health and best wishes. Signed this day, resolved on the 5th day of November, signed by the Council President, all the Council members, and myself. Congratulations. Congratulations again.
think we figured out he has no spare time.
That it is. All right, Mr. President, if you don't mind if I move on with another subject we have here also. Some of you might have noticed everyone has a chaplain's insignia on out there. If any council members have anything that they want to talk about, get it off their chest, and talk to these guys after the meeting. But anyway, we are starting in Brookhaven. The Brookhaven Police Department is starting in Brookhaven Police Chaplain Corps. And I just want to tell everybody, like I talked about the Eagle Scout, what it's all about. Excuse me. Chaplains must be duly ordained or commissioned leaders in a respective place of worship located in Brookhaven Borough or a nearby community. They should have a degree in an accredited institution or a certificate from an accredited course of instruction in ministry, pastoral care, counseling, psychology, social work, or other allied mental health or religious field. Each chaplain must be a person of faith, current and active participant in their place of worship, and presently serving in a role of clergy or lay leadership. The Brookhaven Police Department will give preference to applicants who are recommended by their place of worship for the Police Chaplain Corps. So we actually, starting off, we have three candidates. One is Pastor Grenier, Ben Grenier. One is David Schlatt, who we all know, and the other one is Mr. Reverend James Skulsey. Reverend Skulsey couldn't be here this evening, but first I would like to read the resolution and get it approved before we swear him in. So this is a resolution of Brookhaven Borough Council, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, approving a Police Chaplains Corps program policy for the Brookhaven Borough Police Department. Whereas the Brookhaven Police Department desires to implement a Police Chaplains Corps program pursuant to the policy, and whereas the Brookhaven Police Department has been working with local ministries and religious leaders to develop a Police Chaplain Corps and program. Whereas the Brookhaven Borough Council and Mayor Hess desire to approve the Police Chaplain Corps program of the Brookhaven Police Department, a copy which is attached here to incorporated in as Exhibit A. Now therefore it be resolved that Brookhaven Borough Council and Mayor Hess do hereby approve that the Brookhaven Police Department Police Chaplains Corps resolved this 5th day of November 2018, signed by myself and Council President. So I need a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
If you would give this to the secretary, please. And Pastor Grenier, if you would like to come up, please. Have anybody in particular you'd like to hold flash? Pick anybody.
I printed one out, so okay.
Girls.
Oh, she's not afraid either. I thought for sure
Couldn't wait to come
I
up.
thought she'd be scared.
You hold this.
Not home.
Hold it and hold it steady, okay? Like this.
Take those. I did have it.
Maybe if I say aye, and repeat everything I say, put your left hand. You got it. All right, aye? Aye.
Oh, well done.
Ben Grenier, do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of Pennsylvania
and the Constitution of Pennsylvania
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
both foreign and domestic,
both foreign and domestic,
and I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as chaplain of the Brookhaven Police Department
as a chaplain of the Brookhaven Police Department
under the appointment of the department
under the appointment of the department
according to the laws of Brookhaven Borough
according to the laws of Brookhaven Borough,
to the best of my skills and abilities.
to the best of my skills and abilities,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Chaplain. Mr. Schlatt? Maybe you have someone to hold the Bible for you?
Mary.
That was pre-planned, I guess.
It was.
I'm surprised. Not by surprise.
Okay, good.
If you put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, state your name after I say aye. Aye. I, Dave Schlatt. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania
and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
both foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic,
And I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge my duties as chaplain
discharge
discharge my duties as chaplain of the Brookhaven Police Department. Under the appointment of the department. Under the appointment of the department. Under the appointment of the department. According to the laws of Brookhaven Borough. According to the laws of Brookhaven Borough. To the best of my skills and abilities. To the best of my skills and abilities. So help me God. So help me God. Chaplain. Yeah, this is good.
You guys get the sign, which one of you on either end. There you
Oh,
go.
that's good.
I got the good one. And just so everybody knows, this is just not for the police department, this is for the fire department, the whole Brookhaven residents. Anybody that needs help whatsoever, we're always going to be there for you. And not only you, but you have a team of chaplains. So Matthew, congratulations again. Gentlemen, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congrats, Steve. Congrats, Ben. Congratulations, Ben. Congratulations, Steve. Congratulations, Steve.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
And just to note that the meeting is being recorded this evening. I'm going to go to public discussion. Give your name and your address for the record. Come to the podium, and you have 5 minutes. Any public discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on.
Jim, is that you?
Okay, Mr. Senachek, I don't see him.
Okay.
He's not here tonight. Mrs. Ford?
That's fine.
Mrs. Ford? It's okay.
She was on recess.
Yeah. We'll wait.
All right. Thanks. I was busy congratulating the gentleman. Thank you. Okay. Good evening.
I have an extra.
You're the best.
That's right.
Good evening. So October was a very busy month at Coburn Elementary School. I'd first like to start off by thanking the Brookhaven Fire Department. Coburn Elementary students enjoyed a visit from the fire department during Fire Prevention Week. The students were taught a lesson on fire safety. They were able to handle the equipment and tour the fire trucks and ambulance. They also received fire hats and an activity to support the lesson, so it was a lot of fun, and we really appreciate. Thank you very much, Mr. Montella, and for your department coming over. We look so forward to your visit. Also, the Brookhaven Police Department visited Coburn Elementary. Again, a very, very wonderful visit. Thank you to the Brookhaven Police Department. Coburn Elementary students enjoyed a visit from the Brookhaven Police Department during Red Ribbon Week. The students were taught a lesson on how to be drug-free, given red ribbons to show support, and then signed a school-wide pledge to be positively drug-free. Again, a wonderful visit that we look forward to each year, and thank you once again to the Brookhaven Police Department. Our 4 Schools, 1 Book initiative was a big hit. I'm happy to report that our students and staff loved reading Fenway and Hattie as part of the district-wide initiative. Again, the district-wide initiative is really the purpose to celebrate reading and build a community of readers throughout the district, and we had a very successful event throughout the month of October with that. In conjunction with the 4 Schools, 1 Book initiative, Coburn Student Council collected pet supplies for the Delco Rescue Mission. This was also a district-wide collection for all 4 elementary schools, again in conjunction with the 4 Schools, 1 Book, and the Delco Rescue Mission located in Aston was thrilled to receive an abundance of supplies for their pets. And then finally at the end of the month we had Monster Mash Bingo, which was a lot of fun, hosted by our PTL. We're hosting a food drive this month. Coburn Student Council will be collecting non-perishable foods and canned items until November 16th. So the bins are located in the school lobby for all who would like to donate. The food collection will benefit our local city team branch. Once again, there's always a lot of exciting things happening at Coburn Elementary School. If you follow us on Coburn ES on Twitter, you'll see all of the events that are happening daily, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. It's 2.5 weeks away, and I'll see you in December. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay, Fire Chief's report, Chief Montella.
This goes to Mary.
All right. Good evening, Brookhaven Fire Company's October 2018 fire report. We had 1 fire incident in the borough, 19 non-fire, 23 mutual aid, 5 drills, for a total of 48 for the month, 449 so far this year. We had a $110,000 loss on structure, $60,000 loss on contents, for a total of $170,000. We had $1 million of property endangered for the month. No firefighter injuries, no civilian injuries. Our manpower was 48 calls, average of 16 firefighters in service for 750 personnel hours, 5,214 for the year. 5 training sessions, average of 29 firefighter per session, 396 hours of training log for the month, 2,552 for the year. Brookhaven Fire Company responded to a building fire at 280 Bridgewater Road in the K building. We had a heavy fire condition, a heavy fire show on arrival. Crews had an aggressive interior attack on the fire, looking for trapped victims, also evacuating multiple residents from other apartments at the time. The fire company's attack on that fire contained the fire to the original unit of origin with some minor extension into the other units. The fire is under investigation by the fire marshal's office, so he might give you a report on that. Responded to an accident at 352 on Dutton Mill Road. We assisted Chester Fire Department on a second alarm building fire on Brown Street. We assisted Middletown Fire Company on an accident with entrapment at 352 on Glenville Road. And we assisted on 2 accidents in the area of this 370 Dutton Mill Road, which were both Middletown's accidents. And we assisted on another accident on Dutton Mill and Creek Road, which also was Middletown's accident. Brookhaven Fire Company assisted Upland Fire Company in an accident on 21st and Upland Avenue. And we assisted Rocky Run Fire Department on a building fire at 394 Park Mount Road. And we assisted them on a building fire on Baltimore Pike at the McDonald's. We assisted Garden City on a building fire on Canterbury Road, and we also assisted Chester Township on a building fire on the 1300 block of Powell Road. Also, we were busy in the schools for the month of October and the daycares doing fire prevention work. I'll have a detailed report of how many students that we actually got to see. We'll have that tomorrow night, next week in our company meeting. Our other fire training involved live fire training at the Delaware County Burn Tower. We had basement fire evolutions, first and second floor fires, and search and rescue operations, and we did some vent enter and search operations as well. We had a class come to our station. We had a trainer come to our station on fires involving garden-style apartments. We had an ALS assist class, and we had a vent enter and search class at the station as well, and also we had a drill with Parkside Fire Company. That's the fire report. We'll get to the ambulance. The ambulance, the month of October 2018, we had 100 ambulance calls for the month, 69 transports, 16 refusals, 15 assists. We had 66 calls in Brookhaven Borough, 9 calls in Media Borough, 1 call in Lima, 9 calls in Parkside, 5 calls in Middletown Township, 8 calls in Chester Township, 2 in Nether Providence, 1 in Aston Township. And that concludes that report.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Solicitor's report, Mr. Stone.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple items for action by council tonight. The first is the proposed ordinance to adopt the 2015 edition of the International Plumbing Code has been properly advertised and is scheduled for consideration by council. Council is prepared to move forward. I would ask for a motion to adopt that ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any questions on the motion?
Whose voice was that?
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next item is there's a similar draft ordinance to adopt the 2015 edition of the existing building code. We've adopted the building code already. This is something that's slightly different. But this has been properly advertised as well, and if council is prepared to move forward, I'd ask for a motion to adopt that ordinance.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You have-
Carried.
One, please.
Whoa.
You're on.
It was on.
That's on.
What?
He needs it, like physically needs it.
You. It says turn it on.
It's not the State of the Union time. You can just go grab it. And the stand.
Okay.
All right, we had.
I'm sorry.
The motion carried on that? I'm just trying to make sure.
Obviously, we're doing
We had a motion. Did I get a second?
Second from Terry.
Okay. Is there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now the motion's carried.
Okay. The next item is we have a draft resolution to adopt a policy for the borough with respect to the destruction of audio and video recordings of these meetings. The borough secretary and Ms. Boyle, who occasionally substitutes for Mary when she's not available, have been making audio recordings on a digital recorder that re-records over itself. And so technically, in order to comply with the right to know law, we have to have a policy establishing sort of a procedure for overriding those audio recordings. So we've got a proposed resolution that's been circulated to council. Council is prepared to move forward. I'd ask for a motion to adopt that resolution.
What's your pleasure?
So moved. So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And then moving to future items, I'm going to ask for a motion to authorize me to advertise a few proposed ordinances for consideration at the December 3rd council meeting. The first is I'm going to ask for a motion to authorize me to advertise an ordinance adopting the 2015 edition of the International Energy Conservation Code. There's all these different draft codes, and we're working our way through them.
So moved. That's fine.
Second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. We're way behind on this.
And the next is similar. It's a request for a motion to authorize me to advertise a proposed ordinance adopting the 2015 edition of the International Fuel Gas Code. Not the most exciting stuff in the world.
I'll take it.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thirdly, I'm going to ask for a motion to authorize me to advertise a proposed ordinance adopting the 2015 edition of the International Mechanical Code.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That should be the last big group. I think we're going to have one more after this that Bob Grant's still looking at and working through. But, and then we've got a draft fireworks ordinance. The ordinance committee was kind enough to prepare. They actually did a really good job. I had to insert one definition, and that was the only change that we needed to make. But I'd like permission to authorize me to advertise that for consideration at the December 3rd meeting as well.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Questions? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Okay. And for all,
my question is, where are we going to advertise it?
that's where I was going next. So for all four of these, I think we have enough time to do it in the spirit, and I know that's a little cheaper, so that would be my recommendation in this situation.
Sure.
There's actually going to be 2 of the weekly publications that fit within the time slot. That's
You have the whole month.
right. So my thought is if we do 2 in each of those 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's
Fine.
a good idea.
Great. And then finally, I put in my memo to council an issue with the cell tower at the sewer plant. There's currently a company that rents the ground where the cell tower is occupying space down there. They've thrown out a proposal to try to change the structure of that arrangement. Initially, we thought we might be obligated to respond. It looks like based on the contract term, we have a little more flexibility than we thought. So I just want to put it on your radar. We'll discuss it more at the workshop meeting, but it may be something where we want to consult with the telecommunications council that handled the Comcast cable franchise agreement. So we'll discuss it at the workshop and try to figure out what direction to go at that point, I think.
When is that contract up?
So it's a 5-year contract that started in October of 2008, and it has 4 5-year terms that automatically renew. And so the concern initially was that the wording of the contract says the contract starts when the contract is signed or when the permits were originally issued for the cell tower. So I confirmed with the company that they have in their records that the start date of the contract was October 1st of 2008, which really means we just started the third 5-year term. So under the terms of the agreement, they're sort of bound by the current arrangement for the next 5 years.
Okay.
So they are making an alternative proposal, but if it's not something that benefits the borough, we don't have any obligation to entertain that proposal.
So you're saying every 5 years it automatically renews?
Up till 2028. There's only 4 5-year terms, and then it would cease. And they as the tenant, so to speak, do have the right within 60 days of the end of a 5-year term to notify us that they want to cancel it or renegotiate, but I think they missed their window here, and they're still trying to do that, so.
Okay.
And with that, that's all I have tonight. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Minute approval, the motion to approve the minutes for September 2018.
I'll make it.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Mayor's report, Mayor Hess.
Just one thing, I mentioned this at the workshop meeting. You'll see this little guy that's sitting up here. I should say the Brookhaven Police Department and PetSmart have partnered together into a very nice charitable program for animals. And the way the program works is that when a customer comes up to pay their bill at the register, they're asked to donate $5 to a charity. If they donate $5 to the charity, they have an option of taking one of these little guys with them, or if they don't want it, they can donate it to the Brookhaven Police Department. Well, right now we have a little over 800 of these guys right now in the back room. So our idea, hopefully we're going to get 900 or better, but our idea is the police department is going to do some good policing, community policing, and hand these out to little children during the parade. So that's what we're going to do with that. That's all I have.
Nice idea.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, Mr. Heller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have Mrs. Fuchs' report as well as mine. I'll do mine first. The Tech Committee met last month. Among the topics discussed was the successful launch of the updated recording system. The feedback so far has been all positive, and our focus will now be on maintaining the system. We're out of the build phase, and we are very happy with the end result and the amount of views. I believe last check we had 450 views, which was at least a couple hundred more than we expected.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. What's wrong?
No, I just thought it was funny, but
Okay.
I was the only one that thought it was funny, I guess.
She was laughing at me.
I just assumed Terry's 200 of them, so I don't know.
I just like the part where it was several hundred more than you expected.
Well, it's true. I mean, it
I know,
wasn't
so
a very eventful meeting.
Oh, it's G-rated, so it's not.
And you look good. You look good in the recording, Eileen. I watched your part several times. Where was I? We did discuss advertising the link outside of Facebook by posting flyers in the front office. I think Joe Bynum and Matt Koppel are going to get on that because not everyone is on Facebook, believe it or not. So with recording now in the maintenance phase, the committee is turning its attention to an emergency alert system, Everbridge, and we will be extending invites to the fire department, police department, and all EMS personnel, including Steve Schultz and Denise Leslie. We're going to either get them to attend the next tech committee meeting or have a standalone Everbridge only meeting. We hope to do that sometime in November or December. That's all I have on the tech committee. I have Bob Grant's Board of Health report. Bob says Joe Bynum is scheduled to take his ServSafe exam next week, and Joe has been working on updating PA food safety website with the correct store names and addresses and inspection reports. I'm not even sure what that means, but I was asked to read it. And all commercial health inspections will be completed by the December 3rd, 2018 council meeting. They were, as we know, they were over a year behind on our inspections. Some actually weren't done at all for 2017, so he and Joe Bynum are doing a great job in catching up on that. That's all I have, and now I have Mrs. Fuchs.
Sit down, please.
Oh, sure.
So I can get it right.
Bottom is Bob Grant's, top's mine.
Thank you.
Bear with me, I'm reading Mrs. Fuchs off of my phone. I wasn't able to print it out. No, not yet. I don't know. Ordinance Committee, thanks to all for reviewing the fireworks ordinance. As mentioned previously, we'll need to have it finalized so we can enforce it for New Year's Eve. The Ordinance Committee will meet on November 15th. If we don't have anything to discuss, then I'll cancel. No news on business revitalization. Tech Committee As I mentioned at the workshop, we have a section on the website titled Subscribe to Notifications for residents to enter their name and email address. The notification system will inform residents when a newsletter has been uploaded and not for website modifications as previously reported. Brookhaven Business and Community Association, the BBCA, is teaming up with Full Gospel Compassion Ministry to provide Thanksgiving baskets to the community. They'll be accepting donations of Thanksgiving items and turkeys from November 1st to the 19th. There will be drop-off locations at many of the businesses in the BBCA network, as well as any other business organization that would like to be a drop-off for the food drive. Community news, the next CHIP vaccination clinic will be held on April 2nd, 2019. Donna will provide more details as it nears. And she would like to thank everyone for a successful trunk or treat, and particularly to Mike Garvey and all the planners for organizing it. And I second that. It was a great time, as always. One of our better events. That's all I have. Thank you.
They are going to drop Pastor Ben is going to drop a box off here for canned goods.
Oh, okay, good.
So we just arranged that this morning.
All right, good.
Okay, Mr. Pappas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Planning Commission has had a vacant seat since the resigning of Stan Warfield. Stan Warfield was with the Planning Commission for 22 years of volunteer service. I was new to the game at the Planning Commission, but his colleagues spoke very highly of him in the 22 years that he was on there. But in the event there was a seat that was available for your consideration, the chairman of the Planning Commission, Ronald Currens, has provided a recommendation for the seat to be filled by an individual, a Brookhaven resident named Christopher Gallagher from North Gray Street. So we're looking to fulfill the obligation of the Planning Commission to have this seat filled.
Okay. You want to make a motion?
I'd make a motion that we fill the seat with the recommendation from Chairman Ronald Currens to the individual named Christopher J. Gallagher of North Gray Street in Brookhaven.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You'll reach out to him and let him know?
I'll reach out to him and take care of that.
I'll send him a letter.
Also, the Planning Commission met on October 16th. The course of business was the new Dunkin' Donuts that's coming to the old Wawa building on Edgemont Avenue. They're going to be kind of basically taking the roof off the building and restructuring it to make it square. So they'll basically look like a flat roof on top of it. There'll be two storefronts in the front. There'll be a drive-through that'll go around the back of the building. It will not be a 24-hour operation. And most importantly, for those who are from Brookhaven, when you come out of the Wawa, you will not be able to turn left. You will have to turn right to head south on Edgemont Avenue. Mm-hmm. Anybody that's known from the past, there used to be some decent accidents there. I'm not going to say they were serious, but there was a multitude of accidents that were actually there. So that was the number one thing that the Planning Commission wanted to make sure that the driveway was reshaped, to allow the exiting traffic to follow in that direction. It will also be sporting a new sign. The simple sign of Dunkin' will be placed. It seems, I was told by the owner, that the corporations are looking more for the beverage line than they are the actual Dunkin' of the donuts themselves. It seems that societies are more healthier than they were before. But they still will be selling donuts. And that's all I have.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, Mrs. Fuchs isn't here. Mr. LaPere.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's see real quick on zoning, the zoning front. There will be no zoning hearing this month. That we were looking to have one, but next month on December 10th, Freddy's Hamburgers will be in here for a zoning meeting on their signage. All right, we'll jump to a couple things in Rec Board. Real quick, I just wanted to let everybody know that Comcast Cares, Comcast Corporation, every year they do community involvement projects for their employees. Back in March, they came out, and they call it Comcast Cares. They came out to Sampson Park and helped clean up the park for Brookhaven girls softball and for the borough. Rob Kolb, who's involved with softball, works for Comcast. He got them, he put in his application and they came out.
And part of that was they get a check from Comcast, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500. They received a check for $1,213.06. Since they do not have a 501c number, what we did is we deposited. They made the check out to the borough, so we deposited it in our account. We're giving them a check back. It's on the bill list tonight, but that's a good thing. They're going to use that for some equipment. They need to upgrade the catcher's equipment. So I know that stuff gets expensive, so that'll go a long way. Just wanted to give Comcast a little recognition on that. They did a nice job. Going on to some more rec board news. I am sad to say that Bernie Vicario has retired from the rec board. She's just getting a little too much for her. And she had talked to me, she had talked to the board about retiring from it. She was on there approximately somewhere around 10 years or so. So we will very sad to see Bernie leave. She was always at events. She's always there. She said she'll still be around and help out if needed. So we will be looking for a new rec board member. We will advertise for that and post some things for we can try to get that wrapped up by the end of the year or in January. So if you know anybody who's interested on the rec board, have them send me a letter of interest and a little resume. That'd be great. A couple other things. We'll recap what's been happening. The 32nd Annual Family Day was held on Saturday, September 29th. It was over about 2,000 people attended. Very good affair. I think there was 30-some sponsor tables. There was music. There was games. Everybody had a blast. There was lots of food. A very nice event. The rec board committee and the rec board did a great job, as always. And that thing is, it's 32 years. I believe that was your idea, man?
It was a dream 32 years ago.
Very good. Well, it's going strong. Let's see. On Sunday, October 14th. Mary, I have this for you.
Okay.
I was prepared tonight. On Sunday, October 14th, we held our 15th annual rec board golf outing at Beckett Golf Course. There were 25 golfers who attended, and close to $1,000 was raised for the rec board. We had 17 hole sponsors, and a big round of thanks goes out to every sponsor. I did want to we had a bunch of local sponsors, and I just wanted to read their names and give them a little recognition, because without them, the golf outing would not be as good an event as it was. We had Brookhaven ShopRite, Citadel Bank, Firehouse Subs. Firehouse Subs also had 4 people golfing in the event. Brookhaven Fire Company, Chief and all the firemen, they had about 12, 13 people come under the Firehouse banner, and I appreciate it every year, Chief. Catania Engineering, Walton Mulvaney NDI Engineering, Paolella Construction, Delfera Heating and Cooling. Ray also had 4 golfers attend. Law offices of Stone and Stone. We're going to get Matt out there one year.
Unless there's a windmill. There has to be a windmill for me to go.
Brookhaven Starbucks and Brookhaven Coco's were also the local sponsors. And again, I do like to thank every one of them. They made it. It's a fun event. If you golf or you know anybody that golfs and they want to come out and have fun. I'll give you a real quick story. We had a gentleman come out and play on his own. He called me and left me a message and asked me to call him back. And when I called him, he said, I want to play in the golf outing. Well, what do I do? I said, there's forms at the Borough Building. He said, well, I got to ask you a question. He goes, is it a serious golf outing? And my response was, do you want it to be? And he goes, no. I said, yeah, because it definitely is nowhere near a serious golf outing. So he was very happy, and he actually golfed in one of my foursome was missing one, so he golfed with us. He was a great, real nice guy, and but we had fun, and it's always a blast. So if you do know anybody that golfs, please send them our way. We have a lot of fun. Let's see. Saturday, November 3rd was the trunk or treat. Mike, how many is this? 3? Fourth. Very good. 300 to 400 people, and over 40 people were giving out candy. At least
400 children.
Children. Really? Yeah. Yeah, and about at least 40 people giving out candy. So
yeah, we lost some trunks due to the reschedule, but it was still a great time.
That's good. That's a great event. Very good.
Nope, we sure didn't.
They were there. Thank you to everybody involved in that, Mike, for taking the lead on that. The rec board, as always. The rec board is going to have a psychic fair in the gym Friday, November 9th from 5 to 9. I believe information is up on Facebook and the website and all that. I believe it's $5 at the door and $30 for a reading. That's usually what it is.
Can you get a refund if you don't agree with your future?
You can talk to the psychic on that.
Nice.
Let's see. The murder mystery dinner is set for Friday, November 16th, 7:30. Tickets are $45 a person, $85 a couple. The show this year is The Curse of Jessica Fletcher, a Golden Girl mystery. I have some flyers. We will start passing them around. We'll put some in here. I have tickets. Tickets will be available here in the Borough Building or from any rec board member. Please come. If you have never been to it and you want to have a fun time, come on out. The mayor and I have gone.
It's a total blast. You can't stop laughing for 1 second.
No. And
It's funny.
we did the Golden Girls 2 years ago, and this is a different one. So, and that was hysterical. So, again, if you got nothing to do on Saturday, come on out. The $45 or $85 covers dinner, dessert, the show, everything. It's a lot of fun, and all the money raised goes to the rec board. So, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Last three things. Senior luncheon is Sunday, December 12th at 1 p.m. And later on that evening is the tree lighting festival and the pictures with Santa, and that begins at 6 o'clock.
It's December 2nd.
No, it's December.
Say 12th.
It's December 12th. I think we pushed it back.
It's always the first. The tickets are wrong then.
December 2nd, isn't it?
Printed the tickets.
Didn't we
It's
push
always
that back?
It's always December 2nd.
Yeah.
First Sunday in December.
All right.
It's
Well,
always the first Sunday.
no, they made it the 9th. Sorry, my fault.
We already gave out tickets.
Now, I will double check. I don't know. All I know is at the last rec board meeting, they said that something was happening on the 2nd. We were going to make it the 9th. I don't know where I looked at my.
I'm not gonna like that.
So anyhow, I will double check and we'll have an update on that. So I'm pretty sure, but I'll double check. Not the. All right. And then the Gingerbread House event is Sunday, December 9th from 12 to 2. So maybe there is some problems there. Tom, Mike, do you remember what they said at the meeting? I know, I don't have the minutes, but I thought we discussed something.
I've got December 2nd in my book.
Oh, I know, that's what it is. I thought at the rec board meeting,
Calendar for that.
I thought the rec board meeting, something was changed, but maybe that's for next year. Might be for next year, but let's go with the 2nd for now. If I find out anything different, I'll let you know. All right, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay, Ms. Leslie isn't here this evening, but she wanted to remind everybody that the Veterans Day ceremony will be on Saturday, November the 10th. That's this Saturday at 10 a.m. out on the island, weather permitting. Mr. Wiki.
There's a good possibility he'll be inside. What I heard today, a good possibility he'll be inside.
I hope so. It'll be a lot warmer. I do have bills to pay, so I'm going to ask for a motion to, or make a motion to pay the bill list that you have in front of you tonight.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, since it is that time of year, I'm going to go through the general fund tonight as a preliminary reading, so you'll have an idea of where we are. Now, the budget for this year does go up 1 mil. And before everybody explodes, 2005 to 2010, it went up 1.06 mils. From 2010 to 2019, it went up 1 mil. And that's a pretty long stretch because all of our expenses have gone up. Police, fire, recreation, street lighting. We just recently upgraded all of our street lights. We have 44 miles of streets to pave and sewers underneath to maintain. We have quite a lot of maintenance coming up next year for sewers and trash fees and collection. So I mean, and our labor contracts with the FOP and the Teamsters. So I think that was a pretty long stretch. I mean, Nobody likes to do that, but it got to the point where we don't have enough money to pay our bills. So we had to do that. And hopefully if it happens in the future, it'll be much smaller, because since it wasn't done for 10 years, it was a large amount of money was needed. Because 1 mil is $400,000. And if you look on the first local taxes, basically your millage is now 5.35. We're bringing in $2,140,952. And when you look at your EIT, we are projecting $1,200,000 next year. That is usually going up very gradually, but it's continuing to go up. Now, the item I will bring to your attention is mercantile and business privilege tax. In 2017, it was estimated as $1 million. In 2017, it only came in at $330,000. This year's budget right now, it's on $750,000 estimated. It came in right now at $398,000. We have one more check to come.
So where did $1 million come from? And do you have any idea?
I
what
didn't prepare the last two budgets, so
does anybody know what the actual was the year before? It was estimated at $1 million. I mean, it was something like
2017.
It was more like $300,000.
It was 330. That's what it came in.
So where did $1 million come
I have no idea.
From one new shopping center? Is that we
I
estimated?
think it was
one
just
small.
an
I mean, it's not all that
overestimation.
big a shopping center.
I know. I just think somebody tried to think it was going to. I guess the impression.
Was that
people
figure
had-
used to sell the shopping center? Is that where we were going with it?
I have no idea. I don't know why. I had nothing to do with putting the budget together in 2000.
I mean, anybody that looks at the figures should be irritated. The fact that was even done, and then
I know. But
I
this year,
sent the complete business list
I know.
to the company that collects the EIT
They get it every year.
for us. So they have a list of
not
who they
EIT,
should be
it's-
collecting from if they're not already.
That's the argument.
Well, they are. It's
I
business
mean,
privilege we're talking about.
we
They have
missed the mark
EIT
here
they
big
get
time.
from Harrisburg.
We missed the mark here big time.
Well,
When I say we, I'm talking about the council. I know you didn't do this,
I know.
I understand.
I know.
But you are now living with the consequences.
well, that's what I wanted to explain. So people, now we basically, the number I put in for this coming year is 435, which we feel extremely confident it's going to come in. Because right now, as of right now, we have 398,000. So it actually went up from
add Chili's,
330.
add
And
Chick-fil-A,
that-
add Freddy's,
Well-
add Dunkin'.
Well, yeah, but you don't make a lot of money from those. Most of these businesses are running, like a grocery
where-
store is running on a 1% profit. And your tax is on the profit, not on the
Well,
expenses.
there's a difference between a profit margin on a grocery store and a
Yeah.
overpriced hamburger joint. As good as they, I mean, I shouldn't say
It's
that.
still, you're still
Take
paying
that,
on
take that,
profit.
But
You know, you're-
Correct.
you're in
That's
business.
gross. The business privilege tax is on gross.
I know, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
oh, it is.
Yeah, that's the hard part for a business that's making 1%, is they're paying that on
Oh, yeah,
the
we
gross.
did
Yeah,
discuss
the
this.
earned income is 1%.
All right, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're-
I just
you're
think
fine.
it's ridiculous
No, you're
that
fine.
somebody just plugs in a big figure like that. That's not anywhere close to
Well-
what we've ever made or ever could
I just think it
expect.
was over because of the hype from the shops at Brookhaven. I think
that's
they-
why I asked that,
I think
yeah.
they expected what didn't come in, but it's, you know. Licensing and permits, 219,300. They're basically about the same. The money from Comcast and Verizon is on target, so we now get paid quarterly rather than monthly, and that's just, you know, you just have to adjust to that. Fines and forfeits, 40,000. Interest and rents, 78,878. And then we're dealing with page 2, which is your intergovernmental revenue, which is 222,820. The main items there are basically the money we come in for the fire company. They receive money from Harrisburg, and then the pension funds for the police and non-uniform. So that's like the bulk of that item. Departmental earnings, 312,200, and that's basically where your building permits and your other permits and use and occupancies come in, and gym fees and things of that nature. And reimbursements, 53,225. Miscellaneous is 1,000. And we do have the Mariner East grant coming in next year for 110,000. So that is one grant that's coming in as revenue in general fund. Now, expenditures are pretty much close to the vest for these. There's nothing really unusual. General administration, $106,668. Council and secretarial mayor salaries, $171,530. Financial, $64,000. Tax collection, $62,200. That's the tax collector fees for earned income, business privilege, real estate assessment reduction, and things of that nature, and the bond for the tax collector. And we do have solicitor salaries, $47,000. That's advertising, notices, lien expenses, and things of that nature. Engineering, $40,000. Building for general fund, $384,400. So basically, we do have some work in the building to complete. We will be paying, we'll be paying this year for the bleachers that are going to be coming in any minute now, because they should be coming in the month of November. This one, HVAC, repairs to building repairs, district court expenses, security cameras and doors, and things of that nature, additional. So there's a lot of odds and ends that really get put into that category. Because we did a lot this year. We put the new doors for handicapped on the front of the building, and the gym got a lot of attention. Now, police for next year is $1,784,700. And that does include a lot of money that we do have to contribute to the police pension fund. Next year is $390,000. And we also will be giving $100,000 from the money we get from Harrisburg for the pension funds. Fire safety, $321,500. We do have a sinking fund established, which we established this year. We put in $40,000 this year, next year, and for the next 4 years, we're putting in $50,000, so that when we're ready for the next truck that we will be purchasing in about 5 to 6 years from now, we will have like a $250,000 deposit in cash to give to the company who will start building the truck, because they need a deposit before they start the work. And then the rest is usually the loans that we get from, there's loans that we're able to apply for the fire truck. And we usually, when we get a fire truck, we're retiring the oldest one that we have. So the fire company does have a 15-year plan, which I appreciate, because when you have a 15-year plan, I know every year what they're doing and what we're spending the money on. Okay. Public safety, $29,500. That's basically emergency management, town watch, homeland security. If we really have an emergency like a hurricane, a tornado or something, that's where the extra money is to help if something does happen like that. Code enforcement, $150,300. Zoning, $19,500. And health and welfare, $12,000. And Public Works, $1,002,320. Now, obviously, we have quite a lot of work that we do for Public Works. We have a crew, and we do have the Green Light grant, which comes into this. We actually have the Go Like Go grant, which is $100,000, I believe, and we have to match $30,000. So that money for expenditures is in there for next year. We'll be using 2 years.
I'm not sure that's right. I think it's a $60,000 match. The amount is 120-something or 130-something, the grant amount. So it's half of that. It's a 50% match.
They told me it was 30 because we put 30 in. I'll make that correction.
I think it's twice that.
We'll double check it, but we were told it was 30.
Okay. Is that the Green Light Go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's that hurts.
Well, that's where they're actually fixing traffic lights and.
No, I understand what it's for.
Yeah, well, you do, but I'm just trying to explain to the public. Major drainage work, we have quite a lot of money put in for next year. Street paving, stormwater. There is a dump truck, replacement of a dump truck next year. And we have those, so we'll correct that. Recreation, we have spent in the last few years a lot of money, so we did, the thrust of the next couple of years is really going to be sewers and the road work, because the bottom line is that most people who live here realize that most of the sewers were put in between 30 and 70 years ago. And they have a life expectancy of 30 years, most of them. And we did purchase this year the new sewer television equipment that goes into the sewer. And our new policy, which is implemented now, is that no paving will be done unless we check underneath, because we do not want, I do not want to be paving a road and then finding out 2 months later that we had a cave-in. So we wasted the money on paving. We won't do that. Not that we ever did, but we're going to make sure that we do very carefully make sure that we check everything underground before we pave. Because we, as I said, we have 44 miles of streets. That's a lot. So everybody's street cannot be done in 1 year. It would be an astronomical amount of money. And we do the best we can. We do have a list, and we're always updating it, so. All right, recreation, yeah, we went through that. We have 181,300. Debt service. We do have the lights that we did purchase. We upgraded the lights on the streets. So we do have a loan that's about $23,000 a year for the next few years till we pay that off. The bond issue for the building is approximately like $190,000 for this coming year. And we do, our projected, it was a 30-year, so we basically are in about 2025 is projected it'll be paid off. So that's very, very close. I mean, this has been a long, it's been since 1995 we've been paying this, so you know, I'm really looking forward to having it over, because that'll free up a lot of money so we can spend it on other things, like probably stormwater management, which is going to be a big topic, which Eileen will explain, as she usually does. It's an ongoing state project. Insurance premiums, $1,046,085, because our medical insurance for retired employees and full-time employees is like $650,000 for our Blue Cross and Blue Shield for them. So that brings that total to $1,046,085. And then the money that comes in from the state that goes to the fire company and to our pension funds is $180,000, and our payment employer withholding for Social Security and Medicare is $100,000. So that brings us to $5,898,375. Because I know you understand, everybody who has a household realizes every year PICO goes up, all your bills go up, and your salary may not go up, but you know, at some point, it's unfortunate, but.
I was going to ask you a question.
Sure.
You don't have a crystal ball, I know. But if the proposed budget stays as is, do you have any guesstimate what that would mean per household? I'm not going to put you on the spot.
We will have it for the next meeting, absolutely. Because at the next meeting, we're going to have the road fund, the trash fund, and the sewer funds. Because we just got today the number from Delcor. Because we were hoping to have, and then we still have to confirm what we're getting for road. We got an estimated, but I want to make sure it's for sure. And then we have a couple more things. We have stormwater and storms, sewers, and a lot of repair work. So I'm trying to make sure it's absolutely where it needs to be. And Eileen and I and Delilah will be working a little longer to try to get the other ones done. But a lot of the money that we use for paving and stormwater will come out of road. Because that's what I try to do, put most of it in between the general fund and road. Because road really was always for paving and anything underground. So for stormwater, which is usually. So we're going to hope to use most of that money next year for that. So now, what I try to, we would have the next November 26th at the workshop. We will be reading, as I said, we'll read the general fund again. I'll make the few corrections we have. We'll have the road fund, trash fund, sewer fund. December 3rd, we'll have the third reading of the budgets. The 10-day inspection will start on the 3rd through the 14th. The 17th is the adoption of the budget and the tax ordinances. So, and all those will be advertised. So I just wanted to give that to everybody for their attention. So that's all I have.
Okay,
That's
all right,
enough.
thank you, Janice.
That's enough.
Any
I know.
engineers report, Mrs. Mulvena?
Okay, tonight it would be, council can act on the de-icing salt quotes that we opened at the workshop. You should have a copy of the bid tabulation that was sent to the borough. I know that there's an issue with you guys getting our emails. Apparently, we somehow are not whitelisted anymore, so.
Just the wrong section.
So I know Delilah spoke to whoever handles that for you, and we'll see, because it looks like now that I'm looking around, you don't have the bid tabulation. So it's been like this for it's been more than a week since our emails aren't going through, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I can pass this around, but you had 4 bidders, and you had Cargill, they bid $57.78 per ton. Mid-Atlantic bid $60.15 per ton. Haven bid $62.03, and Eastern Salt $59.50. Just want to pass that around. So the recommendation is to make a primary contract award to Cargill for $57.78 per ton, and the secondary award would go to Eastern Salt for $59.50 per ton.
So we'll do it as 2
That would be
motions.
the, do you want to do 2 different ones?
Make a copy of that and give it to everybody.
Yeah, we'll get it. I'll give it out tomorrow.
So say it
Well, I
again.
can
Mike.
email it to all of council, but it's just the borough that's not getting it. Oh, I guess you won't get it then, because you're all Brookhaven Borough emails.
That's the problem.
So it's Cargill, the primary contract would be to Cargill for $57.78 per ton, if you want to make a,
So I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And now back up.
and then the secondary award would be to Eastern Salt for $59.50 per ton.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And we always get 2 bids. We have gotten 2 bids forever because in case there's an emergency and we have terrible weather, we'll have it. Plus, we also, Parkside buys from us salt.
Yeah, I'm
It's
going
easier.
to cover
Yeah,
that.
okay. So really, it's easier for us.
Okay, the next item is the sewer plant. I know I had talked about trying to get a part-timer to operate it, but then it occurred to me that the borough would have to incur the liability and the workman's comp insurance problems associated with that field of work. So I would like to ask for a motion to authorize us to rebid to bid for the sewer plant operator. And I'd like to bring up to you to change. Right now, it's bid at 2 hours per day, and anything after 2 hours per day is at time and a half, and on the weekends, it's double time. I think that only getting 12 hours, well, 14 hours a week at straight time is a bit unreasonable. So I'd like to suggest to council that we go to 20 hours per week before we consider any time and a half or any increases in pay. So that would be what I would like to ask for. I don't know how you feel, but I wouldn't need to be authorized to prepare and advertise the bid anyway.
You're going to prepare it?
We would prepare and advertise, but we need authorization to do
What
so.
you need is a motion for her to go ahead and do it.
Okay, I'll make
I
that
think
motion.
it's a good idea.
This is the operator at a sewer plant, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I missed the first part.
Because the current operator, the contract expires December.
Okay.
So we
And
have
they've
to do
been,
that.
I don't know whether you look at the bills, but every month they have just, I think, excessive overtime charges. And I would like to meet with them and just see why it's happening and see if we met with them once. It didn't come to any real understanding of why we were getting these bills. But I think it's worth talking to them before we go out for bid just to see if we can learn anything about, if there's anything we can do to, the borough can do to change anything that would help the situation. But I just think that we have too minimal of time being asked for.
Well, should for a plant that size, should 20 hours cover it? I mean, I know for normal operation.
We had a really, really good operator about, I don't know, he left I'm gonna say he left in like 2010 maybe.
Yeah, almost 10.
That guy just, it was almost like it was an extension of him. He understood the equipment, he knew how it all related to each other, he could anticipate changes. He spent 2.5 hours a day there. How we got down to 2 hours, I'm not sure, but that was a guy that just lived, breathed, and knew it. So I do think that it takes more than that if you're not going to have that attachment to it for another word. I don't have another word to use like he did. He just really understood it. So I do think we should be asking for more time to be spent.
Okay. Works.
So John has made the motion.
Do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do it.
I did want to bring up, we have another sinkhole. I brought it up at the workshop, but tonight I would like to ask for authorization to repair a sewer problem that's at 3451 Victor Avenue. There's a G in there. There shouldn't be. It's in the street. It's probably another lateral after the rain. We might get another one after this rain, but it seems like they just show up right after the rain. Well, I do know that they show up after the rain. So I just wanted to ask for authorization because we do have a hole in the street. And the sewer, Public Works Department dye tested it, and the dye did show up in you put the dye in the hole and you wait and see if it shows up in the manhole, and it did, so that means it's sewer related. So I did say worst case scenario here, depending on whether or not we just have to replace the lateral or if we have to do some pipe replacement. The worst case scenario is that it could be as much as $23,000. I doubt it will be that much. Their bills haven't been that high, but I wanted to give you the worst case scenario.
What's your pleasure?
Motion.
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Happy to repair.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. The paving contractor, with all the rain, has gotten so far behind. We did get an extension approved from PennDOT. If you pave after October 31st, you're not allowed to use you're not allowed to get reimbursed by PennDOT unless you have an approval from them. So we do have the extension, and we're expecting them sometime in November if the weather cooperates. One other thing about paving is it has to be 40 degrees and rising. So if it starts out in the morning, then it's not 40 degrees, or it's 40 degrees and it's one of those days where it actually drops, they can't pave. So there are conditions associated with when you're allowed to pave if you're using the liquid fuels money, which you are for the pothole program. I have in here about meeting with Delcor about the camera, about televising to find out where the source of I&I is. You did get a letter today from Delcor, and they are increasing your rate, and they are saying that this was the highest year of I&I that they've had, but this is also a high year of rain. Mm-hmm. We've had more rain this year than we have in the past, 5 years maybe. So they are increasing the rates for that. So we checked on the camera, we check almost every day, and the latest date is November 9th for it to be shipped. I'm not sure whether that means we get it the following week or 2 weeks. I don't know. They're local to New Jersey, so I don't know how long we'll be. But for now, it's November 9th, which is this Thursday.
Yeah, but can we go to New Jersey and pick it up when they get it in?
It's actually right outside. It's in the same town that I work, but I don't know. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's shipping from the manufacturer to them. I don't think it's going to be any time at all for them to drive it over here.
Okay.
So the other thing, you have a maintenance contract that for your street lights that you're currently not being charged anything because it's being covered under the warranty of your LED street light grant program. But I don't know when that warranty expires, but you really need to do a new streetlight maintenance contract because you will not be paying what you paid before. Your LED lights do not require the maintenance that the old lights, the high pressure sodium is required. So you really want to get a new price because you pay monthly and you shouldn't be getting the calls that you got previously.
Should we make a motion to?
I guess so, and then when like a month or so before it expires, 2 months before it expires, we could just go out for bid if you want to do that and get the price and have it ready. I don't know when it expires. I'll check. We just signed off on the last bill, so I'm not sure when I think it was 1 year of a warranty, and I'm not sure when they're saying they finished installing or when that warranty period goes, but
At
We
worst,
just
it
had
was
some
probably
done this
summer,
year.
so,
yeah, it was in the summer
yeah,
sometime.
if that's what they go by, the completion date.
So, I mean, you could wait a little bit if you want to wait. We can I keep that on there. It's been on there for months, but I just don't want to forget it because you don't want to pay what you were paying before.
No, I don't.
Traffic control, did you get these emails, the resolution, Mary, and did the application for the left turn signal? We sent it a second time. Well, anyway, I'll go through it. So the left turn signals at the arrows on Coburn, Cambridge, and Edgemont. I got an update from them last, I guess it was Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday, and they asked you to do two things. One is to submit an application to them for the project to be done, because that's how they kick it off. Apparently, they have done nothing since it was sent. So they asked for an update. They were going to be scheduling new counts. They have to do the counts so that they can change the drawing, which is what I explained last time. So I prepared the application. You guys just have to sign it. I'll pass it down. And then they also asked for a resolution. Whoops, this goes to, that all goes together. I'll give you the clip. So that would be signed by.
Months ago,
So we'll do the resolution tonight, we'll pass
So,
the resolution.
yeah, so here's the resolution. It's just a, be it resolved that you're appointing the borough secretary to submit the application, which is right there. And then you are saying that this is a true copy of the resolution. That's not very beefy. But anyway, they gave it to you, so you just have
We'll
to.
submit this, and it'll probably take them another 2 months to go over the plans.
It's not even, they have to do a study. It's
Yeah,
not
they do a
just,
study, they don't give you.
it's not just going
So we're
over
probably looking
plans.
at February of next year.
I think it's later than that.
When you think about it, this
We
PennDOT
started this-
district they do the 5-county area. So they are responsible for an awful lot of traffic issues throughout, I mean, a lot of traffic control devices that they're responsible for reviewing and approving and looking at studies and also. In this case, I think just something else came ahead of it. However, the manager, which is who we sent it to, the person in charge of this group is now, it's on his to-do list, so I think he'll make sure it gets done. So anyway, if we do that, so if you want to pass the resolution, then they can, I don't know the number, whatever the number is,
It's
just
going to be, oh shoot,
Yeah, let's,
2018-16.
Because we had
just
one.
put that on the
We had
top.
one today, the resolution.
you know, my original letter to them was back in June.
Oh, yeah.
It takes like 8 months to get something done.
It's PennDOT. I mean,
Okay,
All right, read that resolution.
that's why you gotta keep prodding them along.
where do you sign this, kid?
I don't
It's
know,
just
but
a wit-
Let me get,
Can we just get the
you've
resolution?
read it into
did.
the record, so let me,
I'll make that
let
motion.
let me get a motion.
I'll make the motion for the resolution.
Second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Can we do that with the Go Green, Go Lake match?
No, because
There was a minimum of
I
100K.
brought that up before, but it's, first of all, there's a minimum of $100,000 for that grant, and this is 20, so it's, you can't do this alone. I thought maybe you could do cameras, but it turns out you already are getting cameras from the current grant. So, and I have to say, I drove that intersection yesterday, and it did not, the left arrow did not turn for me. And I had a dark car, because we had been told it wasn't seeing dark cars, and it was dark.
Where's this, on Brookhaven?
On Brookhaven
Edgemont
Road,
going
trying to turn
left?
south onto, isn't
I
that?
was just gonna tell you, I have been noticing, and I go through there 6:30 in the morning, 7, 8, and I am one, it's gotta be 5, 8 times. I am one of 8 to 13 cars that get by, because I count as I go through the river.
But you're going on.
Sorry, I know it's not safe, but no.
You're going on Edgemont, you're turning from Edgemont.
Onto Brookhaven.
Yeah, and I was
Oh.
turning from Brookhaven
Oh,
onto
okay.
Edgemont, and that's the one that was brought up.
Oh, all right.
And it did not turn, and yet they came out and they said they made an adjustment. So we contacted them again today and just said, that there really is, you know, not that not the only car, I'm sure, but it's being repeated. So whatever they did isn't enough. So they're going to go back out, they told us. Brookhaven Green Estates, I just wanted to bring up that their attorney and their real estate person, representative, called me today. They wanted to get clarification. They met with Delcora, and Delcora does not want to assign that there's enough sewage capacity unless they pay their I&I reduction fee to us, and we reduce the I&I getting into the system. So we had a discussion on when they had to pay that money, because they have to pay $2,500 per EDU, which is equivalent dwelling unit. So they're going to argue that even though they're building 82, they don't count as 82 because not all households will have multiple people. So it's a lot of money that they have to pay. I told them they had to have it paid so that we could have our work done before they have their first connection into the system. So Delcora is willing to approve it, that connection, if that money is paid to the borough. So that'll give you additional revenue on that side, you know, the east side of Edgemont Avenue to do sewer work.
Yeah.
I think I was supposed to bring something. In the budget you have, oh, I do want to bring this up tonight. You collected $212,500 for the shops of Brookhaven for the same thing. It was their $2,500 per EDU that was calculated for the shopping center. That money was never spent. It's supposed to be spent in advance of anyone connecting to the system and actually providing any additional sewage, because the whole point is to fix the sewer so that we don't have stormwater or rainwater getting into the sanitary sewer before you allow new connections. So tonight I'd like to ask if, I don't know how much it'll be, but we do know that we have televised a section of Brookhaven Road, not Brookhaven Road, Edgemont Avenue, sanitary sewer as a result of the perfect storm that took place where we had a grease backup, we had a Chester Water Authority water main break, and a storm sewer. We had sewage show up in a creek, which is a violation. So because of all those things happening at one time, we had to televise the sanitary and the storm sewer systems, and we found out that we have a bad sanitary sewer section. So I would like to ask authorization to use that money, which is the line that the shops are connected to. So it actually is the same service area, and to make the repairs to that line. So I don't know the cost, but it'll be done in accordance with the contract.
Yeah, that's what we found out when ATU investigated.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Wow.
So then the motion would be to authorize Agar Joule and Sons to replace the section of sanitary sewer main on Edgemont Avenue, somewhere between, I'll say, Coburn Boulevard and Brookhaven Road. Not to exceed that amount of money, but not to exceed $212,500.
That's what it's gonna cost.
Not to exceed.
Every time you dig, it costs money.
And it's a state
Yeah, you
road,
wanna-
so it's
I'm gonna
going to
make that
cost
motion,
more on a
because
state
Did
road.
you say
I
it
can
was
tell you that.
2,500 that we're not exceeding?
212,500.
212,000, okay.
I got it now.
That's what we got from the shops of,
And we'll only replace what we need to replace and save it for somewhere else if, you know, we won't do the whole thing if it's not all necessary.
no, we have the money. It's,
So, okay,
So now we need a motion.
so we need a motion, guys.
yeah,
Okay, all right.
oh, yeah.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any questions?
No.
Hey, Janice, you have anything? I mean,
No, I already talked to Eileen, I knew about this.
okay.
She always
All-
talks to me about money. She has to, she knows she has to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's not only you.
She knows.
Okay.
She knows what to do.
Oh, boy.
See what else?
We're responsible
Never ends.
for Edgemont.
I was going to bring up the trash and recycling. That's one of the funds that Janice said she'd like to wait to go over with you. And the borough did get a letter. I think I brought it up at the workshop, but you guys hadn't gotten it yet, but I had gotten it from another town where they closed the facility where they handle the leaves and the debris, you know, the yard waste and all. So they offered the county conservation, they're the people that actually do it for the county. But now the county won't be involved because they said they can't, they had to close their facility, but county conservation will do it. And all you had to do was call and set up an account by November 1st. We called, we set up your account by November 1st. So you're set up.
Good to go.
And your cost,
I don't know about
the
that.
cost that they've established is $5 per cubic yard for leaves, $9 per cubic yard for branches and yard waste. And they do have a letter, the letter that they sent did say that it was $20 per ton for leaf composting. So the conversion between cubic yards and tons must be that difference. So, and let me make
See, that's
sure.
why when we had the workshop, I wanted to really discuss what our plans for leaves. This is going to be getting very, very expensive. You know, and I tried to, Gary tried to give us the heads up in January. He told me, please, you know, we don't need to buy the equipment. We could do things with the bags and make it easier. And it's just having the process we have now is going to be extremely expensive. And it's going to be passed on to the taxpayer because every time I turn around, solid waste is giving me another $20 a ton fee on top of what we're already paying. I mean, it's very expensive. So if we either talk about it now or later, but we have to decide what we're going to do.
Let's talk about it now. I mean,
Well, we can talk about it now.
What's the alternative?
I would rather, I mean, we're going to do it this year, right?
Well,
We're set to do it this year, or are you talking about not doing it this year?
well, that's the problem. We haven't.
It's too late for that.
I really don't think that you can not do it this year.
We haven't given anybody any notice because we haven't, the newsletter's
Your
not out
newsletter
yet.
will be out any day.
Well, I don't know about that. I can't guarantee that because the man who's doing it is very ill.
Multi-copy can, I just talked to him today.
Well, I talked to him next week.
I mean, we had this discussion, it's really
He's
comes down to
working on it.
political will and whether you have it or not. I mean, if you're going
Yeah,
to
but
make a
there's
change.
different
make a
things you can
change.
do. Other towns don't do it the way we do it. Nobody really does it that way anymore.
Are you taking the leaves somewhere different if they're bagged?
That's what I was
You have to
just
get rid
gonna
of the
ask.
leaves either way, don't you?
No, but it doesn't, yeah, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but they're not vacuuming them, and they're
Yeah,
not,
they're
they're just picking up bags
The tonnage fee that
versus
we're talking
which is a
about
lot
is the same either
labor-
way, isn't it?
less
But we're saving the
fee is, but I
labor.
think they're talking about the equipment's bad
Right.
that we use to get them, so you'd have to buy new equipment.
I thought we already did that, didn't we?
already did.
Yeah, so did
Buy?
I.
That's done.
Oh, so you do have it.
We did because council wanted to do it.
Oh, well, then you're,
Yeah, I think
then
they
you're
already-
kind of stuck with
I
it.
know, but I still would
train
like
left
to
the
figure out what we're
station.
going to
Yeah, we
do.
already did that last year.
Since then, all the prices have gone
can we
up.
have one discussion, please?
Since we did that, all the prices have gone up again. And every time we turn around, there's another letter from Delaware County saying we're
Oh,
going to spend more money.
I mean, we lucked out, they were going to triple it. A few weeks
Well-
ago, we were looking at triple the cost.
But if it happens, I have to pass it on to the consumer. I mean, it's going to be, every time I turn around, there's another letter.
You're selling,
Hector, you'll get us a good price, won't you?
you're singing to the chorus. I get it.
No, I know, you get it, I get it, you know, the council understands, but I mean, it's a lot of money.
Didn't Denise Leslie get you private contractors to do this before you spent the money to repair that piece of equipment? I brought this
No.
up a year ago.
I don't think so.
This has nothing to
I
do
know
with
she was
Okay, all
looking, I'm not sure
talking about.
she actually presented them.
We have the Teamsters, we can't get it private.
That's, the council decided that they weren't going to go that way, so, I mean, we had the discussion.
She couldn't get any.
So do you want me to finish, or do you have more?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
no, please do.
My guess.
Well, I'll bring up the easy one, the one that shouldn't, hopefully doesn't lead to any. E-code contact, did anyone handle getting the borough's ordinances on the website?
I don't think so.
Donna would have to answer that
Anybody
question.
does,
They're still,
it's
it's a
not
work in
foods.
progress still.
Okay.
Honestly,
Were you talking about the borough's website or the E-code website?
It's on the E-code website, but the link has to be put on the borough's website. That's who you paid, that company. The company you used is not the other one, the one that I'm familiar with, where you actually get the code right on your website. This one, you'll have a link to their website. And you've been paying for it. You've been paying annually for it and not using it, so. Anyway, I can take it off my list. I just don't want to let it go if I don't,
Somebody
because
has
I
to
felt
Send
like I
an
had
email-
something to
send
do
an
it.
email to Donna.
And then the other thing, Tara, you had brought up that inlet on 4941 Creek Road,
Yes.
and that you had gone and checked it. So I sent that to Middletown. Their contractor replaced anywhere that they drove over our line, they replaced it. So they're saying that it's not bad anywhere that they touched. Now, the borough is responsible.
They did a partial replacement?
They're saying anywhere that they drove over it off the roadway, they replaced it.
No.
So I don't know what the material was. Was it corrugated metal when you looked at it by any chance?
Plastic.
It was plastic, then that's new. So it shouldn't be in bad shape if you're saying it was crushed?
I said we weren't 100%.
Okay.
But I'm in finance, so, you know, no.
So we
stuck my head in there and
okay. So
looked for what I could.
I don't think you're going to get anything from Middletown, is what I'm saying. So I think that they're satisfied that they did their due diligence. And,
Mr. Globaki will let us know how it goes next rain, I'm sure.
and you know, that line is not going to capture these rain events. I mean, when you look at the square footage of what an inlet can capture, it doesn't get these rains. It gets a very negligible amount of water actually gets collected in an inlet at any given time. It's a tiny little box, so it fills up really fast, and you just have to wait until it can take it all, and that's why the ponding occurs. But inlets were never sized for anything other than like a 1-year storm, and our ordinance is written that you have to size it for a 10-year storm, but nobody does that. So a 2-year storm is 3.2 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain. So we're not even getting that out of these inlets. So ponding versus not working are two different things. So if it ultimately clears after the deluge, then it's working.
Okay.
It's just not sized to handle any more than that. Right. Okay, and then now I'll bring up the other one that I asked Matt about. We had a meeting, I'm thinking it was right before I went away, so it was early October maybe, where we met. It was Vaughn, Matt, Bob Grant, and I, and we were discussing when third-party utilities do work, how are we going to inspect them? And we do not have their patches. So they pay a permit fee, and it can either be inspected by us or Bob, and Bob seems willing to inspect. So right now, there's no mechanism in place. Nowhere does it say who's going to do it. So I think Matt prepared an ordinance or a draft ordinance change, and we just need to know if council wants to do it, because if Bob's going to do it, he's not getting paid.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he hasn't changed his mind since we had the conversation. So I think we need to revisit it.
Oh, you think he may have changed his mind?
Yeah, so.
I don't know if he changed his mind or just we need some clarification. Because I was talking to him and others, and I don't know if we know exactly what we're looking at. So maybe if you could shoot me an email, and then I'll follow up with you and him, and just to make sure we're all on the same page. I don't know if we're all on the same page.
I mean, maybe we can just do it as a conference call and make sure everybody.
It could be real simple.
Mail it that way.
Well, then that's the end.
And
I'll just read the stormwater tip.
We'll put you on.
Okay.
No discussion there.
Everybody's waiting for this.
I know, it's the big moment. It's a long one, so I keep trying to tell Mary Beth, make them shorter. But anyway, in the fall, homeowners continue to work on their yards to prepare them for winter. Here are a few tips to remember. It's best to let the grass lay where it is. Use a mulching blade to cut your yard. It also helps with mulching your leaves too. With leaves, rake onto the flower beds and gardens. Decomposing leaves is a great way to prepare these beds for spring season. As you clean up your tools for the winter, be sure to collect any liquids, gasoline, oil, etc., and recycle appropriately. Do not dump into any inlet. Finally, as you are cleaning up and find miscellaneous trash in your yard, dispose of these materials properly. Goodness. Debris can go into your trash, but if you find bottles and cans, please remember to rinse, remove the paper and the lids, and then recycle. And that's it.
Okay. Great, thank you.
You have to remove the paper?
You know, I've never removed paper, and I recycle a lot, so I don't know.
I've seen shows where they take the paper somewhere else when they get recycled. I never heard of that. Anyhow, just
okay.
No, I thought the same thing.
The Public Works report for October, there were 3 SOAR calls, one at Nathan, where the lateral was completely blocked. some kind of a wipe and wipes. And there was a steel rod that they found in the vent, so they had to call a plumber. In DeMayo Drive and Susan Lane turned out to be homeowners' problems. They finished painting the crosswalks and stop bars for this year. They cut up a large oak tree that fell in Eaton Park. They continue to fill potholes. Now, we'd been talking about the guardrail up at Hilltop, and Gary reached out, and only one company reached back to him, and it's Collison and Company. And they're willing to fix that guardrail for $3,000. PennDOT is not going to take any responsibility for this. They've run away from it. So if you want to, it's going to cost $3,000. What we talked about, Mary and I, was that maybe we can submit it to the insurance company and see if they can get either a full or a partial reimbursement. So, but I need you to tell me what you want to do here. And this is what I have, it's $3,000.
Well, considering a woman was killed there and wasn't found for 2 weeks or something.
That was on the other side.
It doesn't matter, but it's the same. It's the no. It does have everything to do with it because it's the same basic thing. It's the same road.
The accident.
Yes, it was.
Was that?
She was on the Middletown side. That's exactly where she was.
Well, no, she actually.
I don't think we have a choice. Safety-wise, we don't have a choice. I don't think.
Well, I don't think so either. And that's why. But I still need you to approve it.
Sure, I approve it.
I think with our deductible, I wouldn't even submit it to the insurance. Our deductibles are high.
Well,
I'll find out.
Janice, the worst that can happen is that we submit it and they turn us down. But we got to fix the guardrail. And this is what it's going to cost you to do it.
Sounds like you have a motion.
And a second.
I have a motion, a second. You can.
I missed everything.
You know,
There is a motion on the
I
second.
made the motion. Jim seconded.
Okay. You know, if you want to vote against it, that's okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, the bleachers will be in on November the 26th. Janice, I heard you mention that. The sound system was repaired in the gym and out back. Parkside, they're interested in purchasing salt from us. They have nowhere to store it. We've been doing this with them for a number of years now, but I also need your, they're only going to buy what they need, so.
Exactly. So I should just make a motion now so that we can have authorization to sell to them?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And Mary, you'll reach out to them tomorrow and let them know?
Yeah, we always do that every year.
Okay. Back on October the 4th, Mary Beth from the engineer's office, along with Buddy and Dave and myself, we attended an MS4 it was a 4-hour seminar, and basically what they did was they told us what we're going to need going forward as far as getting our paperwork done. We're going to have to be a lot more, diligent about what we do there. And we also will need a new ordinance, according to them, on stormwater management by 2022. So.
You also need a printing press for what it's going to cost you.
Well, it's going to cost us a lot of money. I've been telling you that now for some time. The leaf collection starts November 19th.
I hope so.
The parade fundraiser was pretty successful.
I haven't got anything in. What was, I didn't hear the last date, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what's
That
that?
last date you said,
November 19th.
After the 19th.
November 19th.
No, but wasn't the date after that? Oh, I didn't hear it.
I just said that leaf collection will start November 19th.
Yeah, but I thought there was a sentence after that. I missed, okay.
I didn't get to the next
All
sentence.
right, sorry. I must have a copy of your notes.
Okay, the parade fundraiser was successful. The parade is set to go off on the 17th, 2 p.m., and this year will be dedicated to the business community. The water company, you may see that they've done a lot of improvements. They're upgrading. A lot of complaints about, streets being blocked off. We're just asking everybody for their patience between what the work that the borough is doing, the work that the water company's doing. Southwest, they have people out there doing their lines. So there's a lot of construction going on, a lot of stuff going on. So we're just asking people to take a little extra time to get around town. And, you know, we're just going to have to grin and bear it because these are things that have to get done. I'm sorry?
Flaggers let you out if you need to get out.
Okay, well, we're still getting a lot of complaints, but I'm just making a motion, okay, or a mention of it. On Wednesday, we'll be meeting with the Teamsters, for the Public Works guys. And that'll be our second meeting with them. And I'm going to give you the building inspector's report for November 5th, 2018. During the month of October, there were 9 rental property inspections, 19 property transfer inspections, 37 permits issued, 82 permit-related inspections, and 13 property maintenance-related inspections. Inspectors' reports. Mr. Hampton.
Nothing except, Jim, I will get, would you ask me tomorrow?
No problem. Yeah, that's fine. The next couple of days, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Fire Marshal, Mr. Leslie.
A couple weeks ago, Spectra Energy did some work over there on Williamson. In fact, we had a couple gas leaks reported. They did call and say they were going to be working in the area with replacing some new valves and everything. Do we know if the new parking tickets are in yet? The $50 ones?
I sure hope so. They were due in last week, I don't know.
Okay. They started construction at the C building up there and 5200 Hilltop Drive. For the safety of the men, the road is being closed from approximately 7:30 till 4:30. It is passable for emergency vehicles only during those hours. Chili's had reached out to me about a couple issues on the plans they're drawing up. Got to order small order fire prevention stuff. We're pretty wiped out. We need some stuff for the Cub Scouts and stuff that'll be coming over next week. So got to get some fire hats and some more material. We really gave out a lot of stuff this year.
I know.
So
You needed to, though.
the 280 Bridgewater fire, that was an accidental fire over there. They left the stove on and left the house. So that's what happened over there.
It was tragic.
Okay, thank you.
Lost
That's the
everything.
end of my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Grant, do you have anything?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I want to come back, Eileen. Are we prepared to talk about Hilltop and Cooper and? It looks like we're being stalled.
Well, we're still going with the original date. So Bob Grant notified Hilltop that they need to televise the storm sewer lines that lead to the culvert that's behind 4813 Cooper Road. So it has been going around and getting nowhere, the discussions between Hilltop representatives and the borough. But we're going with the original date, which was October 10th. October 11th is when they actually got a map that highlighted exactly where we wanted it televised. So this Friday, if it's not done, he will cite them.
Yeah, I believe that he did make a breakthrough and had somebody new was in charge, and they did at least get back to him, and he was talking to him about it.
Yeah, we talked tonight before the meeting, and they want to do less. They want to televise less. So he asked me what I thought. I said, if they want to do less, you pay by the day to get televising done. So in my mind, I think they should get their money's worth and do as much as they can for the hours that they have to pay for. So he was going to tell them that, and then if they do less, then he's telling them that that's a phased project and that they will go back and finish it at some point. So that's what he was going to propose to them, I guess, or direct them. I don't know. But come Friday, if it's not done, he will issue a citation.
Let me ask a question, because we were talking about that, Mr. Grant and myself. What do we do with the water that gets pumped out to the street, or is sitting on the street once it starts getting cold? If that starts freezing, do we have an issue?
No, we're gonna have an issue.
Well, it does happen. Are you talking about people that discharge their sump pumps
Well,
over down by the sidewalk?
talking
or-
In that particular instance.
Yeah, in that particular
he's
instance.
discharging
Talking about the
all day
cul-de-sac
long.
on-
Oh, you mean at that
At
house?
Cooper, yeah.
It's definitely a safety hazard.
Yeah, the neighbors are upset.
All right. I'll talk to Mr. Grant. We were running through a couple scenarios, so let me see what we come up with.
I really wanted this solved before we got into the cold weather, and it just
we got a little
not
bit more
getting
time,
there
but not
anywhere
much.
fast.
We had talked about possibly rerouting the water to the back in a storm drain, but I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. Bob was going to look into it again and see what he said, see what it looks like, and I think I talked to you a little bit about it.
I mean, there is a storm sewer that runs down the side of his yard. If he could redirect it, I don't think it's been that long since he did what he did, though. That's new, the work that he did in the backyard and then directing it the way it's been going. He just did that this year.
Well, the problem only started this year.
Yeah, and he
I mean,
acted on it right
prior to
away.
this, yeah.
But I'm just saying that what he's done is actually created this issue.
Right.
How he did it. So if we can redirect it to the borough storm sewer and in some way still meet the intent of the stormwater ordinance, then, we can talk to him about that.
Yeah. Any other suggestions?
That's probably the best suggestion.
That's kind of what we were thinking, but I ran it by you too. All right. I'll talk to him again. We'll see what we do. We'll keep everybody informed of what's going on. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Public discussion, 5 minutes.
Tom Dykes, 305 West Brookhaven Road. First is a thank you to Public Works, I'm assuming that's who it is. At the end of Maple going on Mount Vernon, they cut the trees back so you can see the one-way sign. They put a big sign up that says right turn only, and on the other side of Mount Vernon, there's a do not enter sign. So hopefully that will help some of the issues of Brookhaven and Mount Vernon.
Hold on while you're there. Did we ever look into getting a mirror like we had talked about possibly? To help people see? Aren't we talking about that possibly coming out?
It was brought up as an idea, but I don't think it went with it.
Okay. Just checking.
The next two are kind of connected. One is over here at Ridge and Arlo, I think it is. I always forget where it is, where the state store is in that area. The people in the one corner house are parking their cars literally here, 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 and here, all the way around the corner. The one is literally at the corner. I was coming out the other day and couldn't see the street, started out and someone zipping down the road. So we need to address that one. Connected to that is over at the Slavic Church. They're getting so much attendance right now for special events. They're parking on both sides of Edwards and Arlington. It's one car wide. They're parking on the corner in the church and the corner over by the old Hamilton property. Right now, if a fire truck went down there, you would wipe out every car on that street because they're parking it's so bad. I mean, that's where it is. I was talking to a couple neighbors on Sunday, and they were like, they can't get in and out. They're having a hard time getting in and out of their driveways because they're parking so close to their driveways.
Call the police, they will ticket their cars for that.
Okay.
It has to be passable.
Okay. I mean, because Edwards Drive is basically, if you park a car on both sides,
We did it on my street last week.
Yeah. So that will do. I'll let people know. The other thing that goes along with that, especially with the new properties, buildings that are going in, the new houses that are supposed to go in on Arlington Avenue, it's going to create more traffic with more houses and more them and what's going on. So that all needs to be addressed. With that property, I was talking to one of the neighbors on Sunday. They were talking to one of the gentleman who now owns that property and doing it, and was told that there might be another buyer to buy the whole property again. And wants to put all houses up, not the 7 houses in a park. So I don't know where that's going to go. Or that, or put bigger, or make them bigger lots, still do 7, but make them bigger lots.
That's why I didn't get the
I guess we'll
estimate.
deal with that when we, if and when it happens.
Right, I just wanted to let you know that that might be something that might be happening. So, that's where we're at. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well, the first intersection was Ridge and what? What did you say?
It's a Bridge and Barlow, right? Yeah, Bridge and Barlow.
On the fire hydrant side? Yes.
No.
If you're going down Ridge, the state store's here, it's the house on this side. Actually, they park on both sides of that. Where the 2 basketball hoops are. If that makes it easy to tell you where it
We
is.
did talk to the pastor there, and he said that he tried to get pricing for someone to put the grass pavers in so that he wouldn't have to do stormwater management design, and he can't get anyone to do it for his budget. So I guess I'll reach out. I made a note to reach out to him. He's got to do something if he wants to continue along that path. He may have to just do full-blown stormwater management and get the site developed the way paved the way he wanted it to be paved. Not going to be able to afford that either, though. It's like 6 of one, half a dozen the other, how you go.
Mike Garvey, 136 Upland Road. Page 10 on the budget, and I've been up here before discussing this. Your 2018 budget was $5,918,000. Your actuals were $4,100,000. There's a difference of what's that? Almost $1.8 million. You're now budgeting this year of $5,700,000. The difference between your actuals in 18 and what you think you're going to spend this year is $1.6 million. You got to get a better grip on that. You just got to be able to. Now you're shaking your head no, but
No, I'm asking you, where are you getting the?
I don't know where he is.
I'm looking at your total general fund expenditures at the end. I'm looking at the big difference between $4,101,000 on the actuals and what they're looking at. Page 10. Go to page 10. Go down
I
the bottom.
know, it doesn't say that on this copy.
Okay, because I
So-
might have an older one. Maybe
Okay.
it's changed. What's it changed? 100 grand, 200 grand?
It says 4346154, and that's as of whenever this was printed. So that still has the rest of the year to get at it, is the point.
Okay. You should be on council. You want to do our budget for us? No? Okay, thanks. In any case, what I'm saying is, yeah, I get secondhand notes. See, I get my budget from the guy over at the Wawa. I don't get it from the council person. They won't. So in any case, what I'm saying is, there's some areas in here that I've looked even over the last couple of years that even if we were to go over to, let me find a page that I found the $400,000 difference, and I found the same thing a couple years ago, is in your maintenance. In your actual public works, you know, the budget number was $1 million in 18. Your actual was $588,000. This year you're budgeting $932,000. There's a $400,000 gap in there. You've got to be able to sit down and look at some of this stuff and think of what you're actually spending and what you're not spending. I hate to bring it up even in fire and safety. There's a $100,000 difference there. I didn't have time to go through the whole thing, but Janice, you're saying that, you know what, there's a possible tax increase, and I'm saying it's the total opposite. I'm saying that if you finally get a grip on this budget and you actually spend what you think you're going to spend, or if you spent what we actually spent, which was like, you know, what was it, $4 million or whatever it was last year, $4.1 million in some of your expenses, you wouldn't have to think you're going to spend $5 or $6 million this year. I appreciate the work that you put into it, but, you know, I said it to Ben before, you know, that year, and, you know, it could get a little tighter.
Let me explain. If you look on page 3.
I'll go to page 3 too. There's even
When
just.
you do the budget, this
Yep.
is what people do not get. You have to have enough money to go over to the next year. That's what your opening balance is. You have to have enough money for the first quarter.
Okay.
I do not get tax money till April 1st.
Okay.
All of it. And I will spend more than $1 million on the first quarter. And that's why otherwise you have to get a TAN, which is a tax anticipation loan.
Okay.
10, 15 years ago, we stopped doing that. They were very onerous to try to get and to deal with the banks and to get into all that to get.
So that overage is
That's
your
what it
coverage
is.
the first quarter?
Yes.
So the
That's how it
overage is
works.
1.6 and your coverage for the first quarter is 700,000.
Yeah.
You still got
But
900.
I will get some money in that'll make up for that difference.
Okay.
I will. But I mean, that's, I would like to have more than that, but
Honestly, being here as long as I have, which has only been 11 years, there's a lot of wasteful spending in a lot of areas. There's a lot of wasteful spending in a lot of areas. I'll bring it back to the same thing. I'll ask again every time I come up here. You going to consider a borough manager? Are you going to consider someone that doesn't live in the borough, has maybe an economics degree and a business management degree, that isn't a Republican or a Democrat, that does not have a dog in the fight and only is concerned with our everyday operation? That way you can go to work, Jim, and you don't have to worry about the phone calls all day.
They'll end up being a political appointee for either party anyway.
Stop.
The hell they won't.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Oh, come on, the last 3 years, and then an election will go, they'll flip, and then they'll go back, and you won't have the
Put it
same
in the
borough
contract
manager.
that
You won't
can't
have it for
happen.
20 years.
Put it in the contract that it can't happen. All right, the next thing is, I brought it up about a year ago to hire a private outside contractor to do your leaves. You guys were considering if you were going to spend the money to fix that machine down there. Denise said she would look into it. It's got to be cost effective to pay someone else to go around and do this work. It's got to save us any money.
I don't believe she got any
she didn't get any.
bites.
Okay, then she didn't do
get
her
anything.
job, and I'm sorry that she didn't. But we discussed it. It's in the minutes, and I know it was. Because if he's got a private contractor, an outside contractor to go around and do the leaves, it would save the maintenance guys the time. It would save the money on that machine. That brand new machine was, if we have to buy a brand new machine, I think that we were talking $30-some thousand.
Approximately.
Yeah, 30-some thousand to
That's why I
buy a
tried
new
to
leaf
get them
machine.
not to- I know.
So it's just a suggestion that would be something that you might want to consider. And then they worry about where they dump it. We don't have to worry about the price of dumping going up. Or you just eliminate it.
Well, that cost will be built in. We're going to pay for an increase.
Okay.
Either way. But no, I agree with you, though.
Listen,
Other than
if you aren't as a whole going through this budget or having somebody look at this budget, I'm not saying I don't appreciate your hard work, Janice. I know you like to pinch that penny, and I know you like to try to save the money the best you can. I just think that, that this budget could be actually looked at a little bit tighter, And I'm not opposed to a tax increase.
we have a month to look at it. Don't assume that everyone's just going to vote for it.
Okay. And I'm not opposed to it, but I'll tell you right now, it would be for a brand new recreation center. If you guys were to go for a tax increase, it would be for a brand new building, this building right here,
That's millions.
That's
A
right.
building is gonna be
That's right.
millions.
I know, 30 or 40 million. Isn't it a beautiful thing? Uh-huh.
Not Radnor.
That's it. Why not?
We
You're
don't-
already,
We're not. We don't
you're
make as
already
much.
McDade Boulevard. Why not? I'll see you guys later.
See you. Thanks, Mike.
Any more, I'm sorry, Mr.
I
Hampton?
don't know if I want to call a public discussion, but Mr. Heller brought something up that Mr. Bynum did. What he did, he made a whole new list of all the stores and the property and who owns them and their telephone numbers, because he gave us a copy, which I told him I sure appreciated because it was updated from probably the list that you had before. I don't know if that's what you were referring to.
I don't think that was it, but that's a good thing, regardless.
And the other, I'd like Mr. Dykes to know that the church has asked to expand their parking lot by 100 to 120. And I've given it to Eileen. We've worked back and forth with him, and so they are trying to expand their parking lot because they have plenty of ground there to get the cars off the street. What they're trying to do, just so you know that that's. And also, I talked to Matt today that owns property at 315, and he's trying to get his development from the town that to go ahead and start building his house. And you're talking about another builder. I gave him another name today that somebody wants to purchase a lot, start building, and maybe he'll do more. But I'm getting phone calls all the time too.
You ought to be in jail.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else? How about from council? Anybody from council?
No, we're good.
I will need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Hey, Mike?
Favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion adjourned. Thanks. Meeting adjourned, I'm sorry.